Welcome back, everyone, to the deep dive. We're not just scratching the surface today. We're really going deep. We're cracking open a real treasure chest. Chapter 9 of the Bhagavad Gita. It's called Raja Vidya Raja Guhya Yoga, which translates to something like the King of Knowledge and Secrets. Pretty grand title, wouldn't you
Yeah.
say? Now, if you joined us last time, we talked about soul's journey, which was fascinating in itself. But here, Krishna seems to be opening up even more, sharing something even deeper, more intimate insights.
That's exactly right. Yeah, our mission today is to really unpack what this king of knowledge actually is. How does it change us? And why is it considered both the highest knowledge and this big secret, this intimate thing? The core idea, and it's beautiful really, is that this kind of knowledge isn't deliberately hidden. It's revealed, but only to a heart that's ready, the devoted heart.
Okay, that's immediately interesting. This king of knowledge, but also a secret. So what is it that makes this specific knowledge so incredibly powerful and yet also, well, secret?
That's a great starting point because it does feel like a bit of a paradox, doesn't it? King of knowledge, but secret. Krishna starts to explain this right in the first verse, Shloka 9.1. He calls it the most confidential knowledge and realization. And crucially, he says it's given only to those who are not envious, people with genuinely open, pure hearts. The implication is pretty huge. It suggests that liberation, freedom from suffering, it's not about piling up information, it's about this fundamental shift inside you. When your heart is free from envy, open, that freedom just naturally follows. It's not something you achieve externally.
Ah, okay. So it's less about what you know technically and more about the state you're in when you receive it, who you are. That makes a lot of sense. And the king part. Why is it the top knowledge? What gives it that supreme status?
Right, Shloka 9.2 gets into that. It's called the king of knowledge and the greatest secret because, well, several reasons. It's described as the purest, the highest. It's fundamentally dharmic, which doesn't just mean righteous in a moral sense, but it means it aligns with the very fabric of existence, the cosmic order. So practicing it feels, well, natural, harmonious. And this is important. It's joyful to practice, and it's eternal. It lasts. So the genius here is its purity, yes, but also its lightness. It's not meant to be a heavy burden. If your spiritual path feels like, a chore, maybe you're missing this joyful dharmic essence. It should uplift you, liberate you.
That really changes the perspective, doesn't it? Not a duty, but a joy. Okay, so if this is the supreme knowledge, pure, joyful, eternal, how do we actually get it? Like, what's the practical key? You mentioned devotion earlier. Where does that fit in? How do we unlock this power?
Yeah. Devotion is central. And this leads us to maybe one of the most comforting and powerful promises in the whole Gita. It's Shloka 9.22. Krishna says, quite directly, "Those who always think of me with exclusive devotion, I take care of what they lack and preserve what they have." Think about that. He's essentially saying, if you surrender to me, trust me completely, I become your protector, your provider. And this surrender, it's not achieved through just, going through the motions of rituals. It's achieved by love, purely by love, a total reliance from the heart.
Wow. That's an incredible promise. I take care of what they lack. But, for a lot of people, that idea of exclusive devotion, total surrender, you feel really big, maybe even a bit abstract, especially when we don't always see or feel the divine physically around us. How can this protection work if the divine seems, well, unmanifest sometimes?
That's a very natural question. And it brings us right to the nature of the divine itself. As explained in Shloka 9.4, Krishna explains, "I pervade the universe in my unmanifest form. All beings rest in me, though I am not limited by them." So imagine God like the space in the room you're in right now. It holds everything, the air, the furniture, but the space itself isn't defined or limited by what's in it. It's the unseen canvas, the silent background, but it's always there supporting everything.
Like the thread holding the pearls together, but you don't always see the thread itself.
Exactly. Unseen yet ever present. Supporting your breath, your consciousness, everything. It's not distant. It's intimately woven into reality.
Okay, that helps visualize it.
Yeah.
Unseen, but everywhere. So if the divine is this omnipresent, truly everywhere and in everything, what does that imply about worship? Does it have to be grand gestures, big temples, or does this point towards something maybe simpler, more personal?
Precisely. This is where the Gita makes a really key distinction between just performing rituals and true bhakti, real devotion. Krishna acknowledges in verses 23 and 24 that sincere worship directed elsewhere, like to other gods, isn't dismissed. He respects the sincerity, but he clarifies that only devotion focused directly on him leads to that ultimate liberation, the freedom this king of knowledge offers. Other worship might bring temporary results, sure, but not the final goal. And the core point is striking. Bhakti isn't really about the outward show. It's about the inner feeling, the intention. It's the heart Krishna looks at.
Right, the intention. And that leads perfectly into that verse that always stands out to me, Shloka 9.26. Whoever offers me with love a leaf, a flower, a fruit, or water, I accept it with devotion. It's just so simple, almost disarmingly so. It feels like it cuts through all the complexity we sometimes build around spirituality.
It really does. It says the size, the monetary value, none of that matters. A leaf, little water. What matters is the love, the devotion behind the offering. That's what the divine accepts.
So it's incredibly accessible then.
Incredibly. And that accessibility, that inclusivity, gets even more radical in the next couple of verses, 30 and 31. Krishna says something quite revolutionary. Even if the most sinful person worships me with devotion, they must be considered saintly, for they are rightly resolved.
Wow. Even the most sinful
Yeah.
considered saintly.
Yes. Because their intention, their resolve is now pointed in the right direction towards the divine with devotion. It underscores this idea that Krishna never rejects anyone. He only uplifts. It doesn't matter what your past looks like. Sincere devotion is the path upwards, open to absolutely everyone. It truly makes it the king of knowledge because it's universally available through the heart.
No barriers to entry, essentially. Just sincerity.
Just sincerity. Just
Yeah.
the heart turning towards the divine.
So bringing it all together, what's the takeaway for us, for you listening? Krishna seems to summarize it very clearly in the last verse, 9.34.
He does. It's a beautiful, simple instruction. Think of me, become my devotee, worship me, bow to me, and you will surely come to me.
Think of me, love me, worship me, bow to me. That's the path.
That's the path. It's incredibly direct. Remember me, love me. And that really is the essence of chapter 9. You could say it's Krishna revealing his own heart, open, loving, accepting. He's not asking for complex rituals or immense wealth. He asks only for your devotion, your love. And in return, he offers himself, his presence, his care.
A divine presence that seeks connection, not perfection.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Sincere, heartfelt connection.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, we've seen this incredibly personal, accepting heart of the divine in chapter 9. Makes you wonder, doesn't it? If this is the intimate nature, what might be next in understanding the vastness, the full scope of the divine's power and presence throughout the entire universe? Something to think about. Perhaps what are the implications for you, knowing there's this universal presence that is also so deeply personal and close?